Times have changed. The enforcers, once down and out, now unstoppable. John Avery fuels Chicago's attack, leading by example, streaking toward the rushing title, and possibly the MVP. After a horrific start, Tillman and company found the winning formula, riding a wave of emotion, challenging anyone who gets in their way. Two teams with postseason dreams. Two teams that control their own destiny. Two teams ready to leave it all on the field.
Week 9 of the XFL, we're in a New York state of mind. The Chicago Enforcers and the New York Hitmen. In the XFL's Eastern Division, Orlando has clinched a playoff spot. Chicago and New York in action tonight fight for the remaining berth in the East. For the Chicago Enforcers, not just a lot on the line, but everything on the line tonight. A loss and the Enforcers are done this season, out of the playoff picture. They need a win to stay alive.
Remember, guys, it is a marathon. It is not a sprint. 60 minutes of football all the way. 2 halves. You take it one play at a time. That's how you handle it.
The New York Hitmen also 3-5, but winners versus Chicago earlier this season. If New York can do it to the Enforcers again tonight, and if heavy favorite Orlando beats Birmingham this evening, the Hitmen go to the playoffs.
Here for one purpose, win. That's it. Winning. This is our game. This is our show. This is our... Everybody in this room, that's it.
Matt Vasgersian from the Meadowlands. 2 playoff spots claimed in the XFL as Orlando and LA have clinched 2 playoff spots left, one of them in the East. These 2 teams tonight vying for 1 remaining spot, a chance at the playoffs and a chance at the $1 million game at the end of the season. Let's talk about the New York Hitmen, the home team, and welcome in Jesse Ventura. Jesse, this is a different New York team than the one that began the season.
Absolutely. New York was probably the worst team in the XFL, starting off 0-3, Matt. Now they're probably the most improved team in the XFL, but Coach Rusty Tillman says that doesn't mean anything. If they don't make the playoffs, it is meaningless. Now, what has caused the change? Wally Richardson at quarterback. He's brought passing, versatile running attack, and team leadership, but there's a problem with Wally Richardson tonight.
Wally Richardson with a leg injury. He's not out there tonight. Instead, they send a guy out there who's not made an XFL start, and we welcome in our own Iron Man, Mike Adamle. Mike, Court McGuffey, big game on the line. He's making his first start of the year.
Yeah, virtually no pro experience, just a rookie, Matt. He's only thrown 16 passes this season. Unfortunately, they came 2 months ago in a loss to the Las Vegas Outlaws. His strong suits, smarts, leadership, a decent command of the medium-range passing game, but there's a quantum difference between playing in a game where the outcome has already been decided and a game where there's a playoff spot hanging in the balance.
What's going through Court McGuffey's mind? One man knows, our own Fred Rogan. Freddie?
Court, making your first start, a lot has to be running through your mind tonight, but what concerns do you have as you approach this game?
I'm just excited to get out there and play. This is a great atmosphere here, Giant Stadium, and just looking forward to getting out there, playoffs on the line, and just go out there and have fun.
All right, Jesse, that's the thumbnail sketch with New York. What about Chicago? It's a pretty easy mathematical situation. They win tonight, they're still alive. They lose, they're done.
That's right, and you know, Chicago has their destiny, as you said, Matt, in their own hands. and they need to come in here tonight. They need to win, and that centers around running back John Avery. John Avery accounts for almost 50% of the Chicago offense, but there's a problem there, too, with John Avery.
A lot of problems tonight, I'm sensing.
There
and
is.
that problem, Mike Adamley, is that John Avery's a little dinged up.
The one thing they can't control, Chicago, is the condition of John Avery's hamstring. Some controversy surrounding the XFL's leading rusher last week in the final seconds of a 13-0 win over Birmingham. Inexplicably, Avery put back in the ball game, and this is what happened. He pulled his hamstring, perhaps jeopardizing his ability to play tonight.
He's going to be all right. He'll be playing. But looking back, hell yes, I wouldn't have had him on the field.
We talked to John Avery last night. His condition was anywhere from 65 to 70%. How is he tonight? Well, right now he's with Chris Raggy. Chris?
24 hours ago, John, you were 65%. How do you feel right now, and how effective can the XFL's leading rusher be this evening?
I don't know. It just depends, you know. If my hamstring holds up, I'll be like Al Pacino in New York. I kill for fun. Believe that.
Moments ago, the scramble for the ball, the scramble for possession. Tony McCall of Chicago and the home guy, Donnie Caldwell. It's squirted free. It's a sloppy track out there. This field has sustained rain, and Donnie Caldwell not only won the scramble, but tried to advance it into the end zone. Can't do that, Donnie. Ready to kick it off. Then Andy Crosland of the Chicago Enforcers is set to kick. Kirby Dardar and Butler Benote back to receive for the home Hitmen. There is a lot on the line tonight. As we mentioned, something to keep in the back of your minds as well, there is a sloppy track at the Meadowlands. The field took a lot of rain over the past couple of days. The field had not been covered. That may or may not be a factor, and week 9 of the XFL is underway. Kirby Dardar, the Syracuse product, up ahead of the 25, cuts outside and finds some running room. A big return off the opening kickoff as Kirby Dardar returns it 31 yards. Well, here he is, fellas. We're told that rookie quarterback Court McGuffey is from the cerebral school of quarterbacking. Great collegiate credentials, but how's that going to transfer tonight?
Pro. We got shuffle to dice left, 38 toss, D reverse, triple pass, all one-on-one. Ready?
This play has got everything in it. You heard the reverse in there. Perhaps they may do that a lot tonight. A lot of trick plays up Rusty Tillman's sleeve tonight.
Only a 3-man front for Chicago.
And already miscommunication. McGuffey was looking one way, he turned the other way, and there's Corey Ivy to drop him for a loss of 9.
The reverse was on. Unfortunately, I don't think the wide receiver,
Posse.
who was supposed to be the reverse man, heard the call.
I know.
Broken play.
Posse.
Oh, Jamie. Yeah, baby. Yeah, what's up now?
Yeah, and Aaron Humphrey says, welcome to the XFL, my brother.
Mike, what's it like when you're a wide receiver and you got to take on one of those linebackers coming through like that?
Jesse, you pray. You pray.
20.
Already in a second and long are the home Hitmen. Look out, here come them linebackers again. McGuffey gets it away, and they've got a completion near the original line of scrimmage. Kirby Dardar on the receiving end.
Wally Richardson out tonight. He strained the posterior cruciate ligament in his knee, but they expect him possibly to be back next week, and let's hope that if you're a New York Hitman fan that there'll be a reason to play next week. Should there be a playoff spot, he will be in the game, no question about it.
Scatlin.
Well, it was Richardson who really led the turnaround, but at this point, the Hitmen hopes rest with young Court McGuffey. He's got Joe Aska out of the backfield, but he finds Dino Filiaw. 3 straight passing plays out of the gate for McGuffey. Rusty Tillman showing a lot of confidence in his young passer.
Well, you're going to have to pass that second and third play when you get sacked on the first play. You can't run the ball then.
3 passing plays, but it's a 3 and out as Leo Araguz is on to punt for the Hitmen.
So the Chicago defense does their job. They're getting the ball back. Now we'll see the status of Avery.
It's a live ball at the 30-yard line. Araguz has the 3rd best per punt average in the XFL this season. Gets away, a big one. Corey Ivy back to the goal line. Trying to get out of danger, and he's dropped at the 6. Israel Rabun, one of the big defensive linemen that lead the Hitmen charge. How do they prepare?
Our game plan is the same as every team game plan that plays against Chicago. Stop Avery.
We've been pressing all week just to get in the game. What?
I like to hit him. I like for him to try to run over me. I don't like the guy.
Put Avery in the game.
This guy's talking and calling my name. I've lined up against Bruce Smith. I've blocked LeVon Kirkland. They mean to tell me this guy think I'm going to have nightmares because he's calling my name? Please.
Well, here we go, baby.
Kevin McDougal trying to get rid of it in his own end zone, and a safety in their first play from scrimmage, and guess who? Bernard Russ and the man you just heard from, Israel Rabun.
Well, the last time these two teams met, New York sacked the Chicago quarterback 9 times, and they're doing it again tonight on the first play.
Offense, number 14, resolving the safety.
One of the things the New York-New Jersey Hitmen do so well, stunts up front. Watch number 55, Bernard Russ, number 95, Dwayne Saab. Just like that. McDougal on his back.
Well, running the option in Notre Dame only gives you so many looks at big defenders like that, and right out of the gate, the Hitmen have a 2-0 lead.
Matt, next to Las Vegas, New York perhaps the best defense in the XFL.
Everyone over the top to the left. Let's go. Let's go.
Whoa. Hey. So we're going to go special middle again. Special middle again. Hey, are you in this or not? He can't go. Let's go special middle. Move up 20 yards.
Well, the defense featured for New York early tonight, as Mike Adamle just got through telling you, it's the second-ranked defense in the XFL behind Vegas. Tops versus the pass, and it was that pass rush that took care of McDougal in his first play from scrimmage.
And so far, Matt, we got a Derek Jeter home run with a man on. 2-0, New York over Chicago.
That's right, opening day here at the Meadowlands.
Come on, Chris.
Well, they're 3-1 in March, are the Enforcers, after that miserable 0-4 start. And it's worth mentioning again, fellas, that the 4th of the 0-4 came at the expense of these Hitmen.
And let's remember something. Rusty Tillman's been lucky both times. John Avery did not play in Chicago, and he's limited here tonight.
Kirby Dardar picks up after a bounce and returns a couple of yards up ahead to the 39. That's where Court McGuffey and the Hitmen offense will take over for the second time tonight.
Great field position.
There was a quarterback controversy.
Get over the side. Butler, did he make a call here? Man.
We're all covered up.
Yeah. Well, we just stand. All right, this is our
stay on our level, so we can pick that up.
Yeah.
Tight end / tackle Tim Martin
Set.
getting chewed out a bit on the sidelines. He's got to miss that block.
Blue 24. Oh, shit. Hang on, he's throwing inside.
Handoff banging up the middle is Joe Aska. A gain of 5.
Bernard, on the safety, were you running a stunt? Is that how you got in so quickly?
I was trying to find the ball. Trying to find the ball.
You're not going to give it up, are you?
Man, I'll find the ball.
Hey, Freddie, this is week 9. These guys aren't going to give it up.
He must work for the CIA in the offseason.
You know, a wink and a soundbite get you a long way in the world, not necessarily in this league.
Set.
2nd and 5 for McGuffey.
Yeah. Red, Eddie. No, you don't see it.
Play action, he's got Aska again. Nothing, he gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of 2.
Pro, huddle up.
Slot right, check. Lead or slant. If they're in a stretched out odd, run the slant.
Okay, here we go. Tim slot right, check. Lead or slant on 101. Ready?
One of those check with me plays. They'll see it read it to the line of scrimmage, and based on the call that he makes here, they'll run either the lead or slant.
Black 90. Black 90.
On 3rd and 3. He's got a receiver, a completion, and a first down.
Easy up.
Well, McGuffey got the start in a decision over the week between he and Charlie Polari.
Here we go. Good job. Good job.
I use my head, I think, is the biggest thing. I like to read the coverage. I know where my guys are going. You know, look at what the defense is giving me, and just take what's there. You know, don't try to force anything.
That's the game plan. We mentioned there was a controversy during this week leading up to the game, as it wasn't really determined who was going to start, McGuffey or Polari. This is Joe Ascot. First down for the Hitmen, a gain of 18.
Well, one thing about Joe Ascot, he's not going to fake you out. He's going to run you over.
And this is an ominous sign if you're a Chicago Enforcer fan. This guy is 5'11", 247 pounds, and one of the best north-south runners in the league. If you're a defensive back, you just cringe when you see him coming.
Now, Mike, why is it always north-south straight up the field and east-west is across the field?
It's the way football fields are laid out, and I don't know whoever came up with that one.
All right.
Something about the magnetic poles.
Adam Lee's 0 for 1 tonight as time winds down on the play clock. McGuffey going long over the middle, had a receiver, and it's in and out of the hands of Bob Rosensteel.
What's worse, Jesse keeps track.
He was running north-south on that.
Okay.
Brings up a 2nd and 10 now for the Hitmen.
I'm thinking about running a fake here.
The Hitmen emptied out all the trick plays a couple of weeks ago. That's the week they turned it around in the league with an upset win over San Francisco. Dino Filio, the ball carrier, dropped for a loss.
Very nice play by Jason Shorak. Yeah. The erstwhile Croatian sensation when he played for the University of Washington and led the Pac-10 in sacks for 2 years running, I believe.
Wide, shallow, on one-on-one. Ready? Be ready, Bob. Find the hole.
It's going to bring up a 3rd and long now.
Car! Fire! Set! Blue, 20!
Last week in their loss, the Hitmen were 0 for 11 on 3rd and 4th downs. They've converted 1 tonight already. Plenty of time for McGuffey. He dumps it off. Thrown, tipped and picked off by Jason Gray. A flag on the play, however.
And this is one of the things that the Chicago Enforcers defense does so well.
Holding New York.
They rank dead last in pass defense, but for some reason, they lead the league in interceptions. That was number 13. This one courtesy of a pick. And perhaps a ball, Jesse, that McGuffey should not have thrown. Definitely a ball he shouldn't have thrown.
Every time you're picked off, Mike, you shouldn't have thrown it.
Everything's open. Everything. You got that much room, run it. You're not about to take the field.
That looked like one of those Mark Wilson mid-'80s Raiders passes. Yikes. New York on top early in the first quarter on a safety play against the Chicago offense in their first play from scrimmage, and courtesy of Bud Light. We check in with Orlando and Birmingham. Playoff implications abound in week 9 of the XFL, and as you can tell, they are just underway in that one.
Cord, you said you've been waiting for this day your entire life. What's the difference in the speed of the game you see from the practice field now to game action tonight?
It's the same. That last throw, I just needed to run the football, tried to make a little too much happen, but we're moving the football. We just need to keep that up.
Kevin McDougal starting his 2nd series. The first one didn't end so hot, and his pass is incomplete, intended for Willy Tate.
And trust me, Jesse, it's not the same. It's like driving on a Sunday morning on a country road, and then all of a sudden you have to drive in Midtown Manhattan in rush hour.
Well, he's trying to stay calm and collected and look like he's not overly fired up, I think, on the sidelines. His heart's pumping, though.
Kevin McDougal was in a similar situation that McGuffey was in coming into week 5 of the XFL season. Chicago struggled under Tim Lester. They made the move to McDougal, and Chicago's gone 3-1. This is John Avery. Looks good and healthy, at least until he was tackled by Damon Wheeler. A gain of 5 on the play.
Matt, these will be interesting moments for John Avery. He told us last night that he wasn't worried about his initial burst. That was there. What he's worried about is that extra gear that he usually has, his ability to run away from people. Hard to tell right there with a great tackle by Damon Wheeler whether or not John is close to, anywhere close to 100%.
Well, if he's in fact not able to continue tonight, Jesse, that means that New York will have caught a break not once but twice.
That's right.
We can't do about, is it 7? No, it looks more like 5. That's a little bit different. Hey, look, y'all look for the screen draw. Yeah.
John Avery was not available, did not play earlier this season against New York.
And to show how valuable, Matt and Mike, that John is, he's the only player to win Player of the Week honor twice in the XFL.
180 yards last week versus Birmingham. Only player in the league to be averaging over 100 yards per game this season. But Ron Meyer says Kevin McDougal, not John Avery, is the reason why they're in a position tonight to make the playoffs.
Let's go. Go.
You know, Kevin McDougal, yeah, he's 3-1 when he sleeps next to the window. His roommate is Aaron Bailey. Last night, Aaron was telling us that inadvertently he made the mistake of putting a suitcase on the bed next to the window. McDougal said,
Blue 44.
I'm sleeping there when you wish.
Superstition abounds in professional sports.
3rd and 5 play now for McDougal. He's going to hang him high, and he's got a man wide open who burned his receiver. Aaron Bailey. He was out of bounds, however. Oh, Bailey made a nice move to lose coverage. McDougal found him, but it all happened wide of the foul line. Chicago will have to punt.
In his previous 4 starts for the most time, Kevin McDougal has played pretty close to the vest, but they think they can air it out tonight. New York's 2 corners, Joey Ealams and Damon Wheeler, play a lot of bump out there. Tight coverage. They want to see if they can go deep on these guys, especially with a speed merchant like Kirby Dardar. He's back in punt return mode right now.
Oh, we got a flag. Delay a game, I bet. Yep. Time clock ran out.
Just the 2nd penalty of the night so far. This is a far cry from the flag-laden affair we watched last week in L.A.
You know, Mike and Matt, you probably don't realize this, but when I played football, I never played and lost a game in my entire career. Just ran out of time a few times.
Oh, that was back in the day of the leather helmet, was it not?
Because I see them folks.
And no face masks.
Alert 19.
It's back when you were getting seasoned.
Let's go.
It's a live ball at the 42-yard line now as Andy Crossland.
Oh, great field position
Kirby
here.
Dardar, who makes a move at midfield. He's got the corner as well and is tripped up at the 32-yard line. A 22-yard return for Kirby Dardar. This is a guy that used to be a running back in the Big East. He's used to taking big hits, and he likes the contact.
I mean, this game is all about respect. If you're out there getting hit and you letting them hit you time and time again, they're going to keep on doing it. When you put your foot down and let them know, hey, everything you bring in, I'm bringing right back. And if I could have a chance to knock you out, I'm going to take it.
Never let them see you sweat.
McGuffey and the Hitmen starting in their best field position of the night. A handoff to Dino Filia, looking for something up the middle, maybe a couple of yards.
Now, Dino Filia, a guy for New York, New Jersey, who has had some problems, foot problems this year. He might be their quickest back, their version of John Avery. If he's in the lineup tonight, along with Joe Aska, could spell trouble for Chicago, Jess.
Well, the other thing, too, Mike, right now New York has had 3 possessions with great field position. They've only got 2 points. That's going to shift at some point in the game, and Rusty Tillman better get some points on the board while he's got the advantage.
Rusty felt very good about his decision to start Court McGuffey, a highly decorated collegiate player in Division II. Winner of the Harlan Hill Award in 1999. That pass is complete. Mike Archie out of the backfield and a first down for the Hitmen at the 15-yard line.
Mike Archie out of Penn State leads this team in scoring, and what he does best isn't run run the football. It's his ability as a pass receiver that makes him dangerous and so valuable to this team. And we talked about the New York resurgence at the top of this telecast. Mike Archie's performance is one of the reasons why.
Set! Blue 24! Blue 24! Hut!
Archie rotates out in favor of Joe Aska, and you shall receive. Touchdown, Hitmen. A 15-yard run with a lot of love right up the middle.
And let's give credit to that New York line, because they opened up a hole right there. I don't think Aska hardly got touched all the way to the end zone.
Center Juan Porter, guards Robert Hunt and Ben Cavell. How'd you like that north and south, Jess?
That was south. That was towards Florida.
Option. On one, ready?
And what a great feeling for the guy, Joe Aska, who is now a go-to guy for Rusty Tillman. This is a guy that was released out of camp.
Set! Blue 19! Fuck.
New York is at 42% in their PAT completions. And they've taken a timeout to chat about things. They're first of the half.
Get the play calling.
Well, a lot of room up the middle, as you mentioned, Jesse, Mike, with a lot of people able to fill this hole.
What? Great blocks. And Joe Aska's initial burst makes this happen. A slower running back might not get to that hole as fast. Not Aska, who in his prime at one time was a Division II track All-American, allegedly had a legit 10.1 100-meter.
The other interesting thing, too, is Chicago, again, using that three-man front. So they're going with 4 linebackers, and that's going to open up that running game more because you ain't got the big beef up front.
Let's check in and see what's happening elsewhere. A big game between Orlando and Birmingham.
Update brought to you by Bud Light. Birmingham quarterback Graham Lee, a 9-yard touchdown pass to Quincy Jackson.
Hey, a flanker screen on the 9-yard line. He brings it in. Hey, that's a touchdown. That keeps Birmingham's playoff hopes alive.
Our thanks to Jim Ross and Dick Butkus on the call. Birmingham still breathing. The PAT attempt is stuffed at the line of scrimmage.
Don Sassa from Washington State, the first to get there.
All New York early in the Meadowlands. A Hitman on top 8-zip. 14 left in the first is safety and a 15-yard run by Joe Aska. And Leo Araguz readies to kick it away for New York. Corey Ivy and Luke Leverson back to receive for Chicago. This one has started out in completely different fashion than last week's Hitmen loss, when they fell behind quickly after giving up a TD on the opening kickoff, a 95-yard run back by Brian Shea. Tonight, Rusty Tillman, as if to say, we're going to take charge from the opening whistle. They're on top 8-zip. This is Corey Ivy at the 12. And tackled at the 26.
Joe, on the touchdown, you took the ball, and it looked like the sea parted. You ran right down the middle. Was it you, or was it your lineman?
Offensive line, baby. They're doing a good job tonight. We're starting off hard. You know, I'm just trying to make big plays.
You're going to show them some love?
Nope. There ain't no love in football. It's all about challenge. And then the offensive line have stepped up to the challenge, and we're going to keep on and make big plays.
Chicago starts this drive at their own 26-yard line. They've had lousy field position to start tonight. McDougal hands off on the ground. John Avery good for 5 yards.
So far, running straight ahead shouldn't hurt him too badly.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Nobody more important to Ron Meyer's offensive attack than John Avery, the league's leading rusher. And as Mike and Jesse told you earlier tonight, he's responsible for nearly half the total offense that the Enforcers have mustered this year. Avery again, they're trying to establish him. A gain of maybe a yard. Bernard Russ came in to make the tackle. John Avery has been a bit frustrated this year as he told us yesterday, he doesn't feel like the league and its players have gotten the respect that it deserves. He flicks around with the remote control just like the rest of us and sees a lot of synchronized swimming and polo and lacrosse and wonders where's the love for the XFL.
He rebels at the notion that these guys, his teammates, and the opponents are rejects. He is anything but, that's for sure.
McDougal's playing his players. And that one's incomplete, intended for Junior Lord. Ty Talton had good coverage for the Hitmen. Well, you know, to continue with John Avery, he told the enforcers at the beginning of the season, and I found this interesting, Jesse, he said, I don't even want to be paid. Just get me some billboards. Well, to date, there are 4 John Avery billboards, and you know, Mike, in the Chicagoland area.
Yeah, and there are, and I did talk to John about that. I said, don't ever make that statement again. You want to be paid.
He's one away from the guy who had the most billboards in history, Mike Adamley, in the Chicago area.
Those are the billboards at the post office.
Kirby Dardar received the punt at the 26 and brought down immediately. 2 yards on the return. John Fisher was there to make the stop.
Really?
A flag on the play.
Kicking team had an illegal man downfield, number 55. 5 yards will be added to the run. First down. Timeout.
With a timeout, the U.S. Army presents victories in life. Tonight we look at New York linebacker Ron Merkerson, whose football career was in serious jeopardy when he had surgery on both his legs, but he's come back to lead the Hitmen. Ron Merkerson, a great example of the U.S. Army's.
Get to know our fans one-on-one.
I'll borrow the Bruce Springsteen line. Nothing matters in this whole wide world when you're in love with a Jersey girl. Oh, hey, Tommy, congratulations there, buddy. You're getting married. You'll be sorry. Put the doll down, Chief. Birmingham's opened up a 9-0 lead at home against Orlando, guys. That screws things up a little bit, doesn't it?
Boy, does it ever. If Chicago gets beat tonight, they'll be eliminated if Birmingham wins.
Blue 43!
The Graham Lee-led Birmingham Bolts. We'll keep our eyes on that one all night. Very interesting stuff. Joe Aska with some room around the left side. A gain of 5, dropped at the 39 by Aaron Humphrey.
Jesse, Joe Aska playing like a man possessed tonight. Means so much to him. Cut from this team earlier, and now he's one of the go-to guys on this team as they make their run for the playoffs.
You know, Rusty did some weird decisions earlier, cutting Joe Aska, not starting Wally Richardson.
Blue 20! Come on, come on. Blue 20! Hut!
McGuffey on the ground for Aska. Once again, they're calling his number a lot. That's his 6th carry in the first quarter. Jamie Baisley makes the tackle after a gain of 3. It's been a big opening quarter for the home Hitmen. At the end of 1 quarter of play, 8-0 New York. You're watching the XFL on NBC. XFL Player of the Week is Chicago Enforcers trail as we start the second quarter. But so far tonight, it's been the Joe Aska show that's been most impressive on the ground, guys.
John Avery has basically been a non-factor, but credit New York's defense for that.
Red 292.
Court McGuffey and the Hitmen taking over at the 40 and a half. That pass is through the hands of Kirby Dardar, incomplete.
Hey.
Punting unit onto the team. Leo Aragu's on to kick it away. They'll kick from the 42. It's a live ball at the 33-yard line.
Come on, Leo.
Jesse, you alluded to it earlier as we look at Leo Aragus, is that New York has had a lot of great field position tonight, a lot of chances to score, and they're still only leading 8-0. That may come back to haunt them.
Another big kick by Aragus, and it's dropped. Luke Leverson couldn't hang on to it. Luckily, he jumps on it for the Enforcers as they take over at the 14. Hey, tomorrow at noon Eastern, don't miss an NBA on NBC Twin Bill. First up, every game is crucial for Reggie Miller and the Pacers as they fight for the final playoff spot in the East. They take on Allen Iverson and the East leading Sixers. Then it's the final round of coverage of the Bell South Classic. And in the nightcap, Latrell Sprewell and the Knicks face Shaq and the Lakers as both teams look to secure home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. Don't miss all the action starting tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern right here on NBC.
Half right, half. Here you go. 7. Blue 88. Blue 88.
Trying to establish Avery still. A gain of 4 up the middle. Ty Talton came up from the safety spot to make the tackle for New York.
Well, that could have easily been a loss of about 5 yards right there, but Avery with a good cutback. It looks like his hamstring's holding up pretty well so far, but he's coming out after that play.
Let's go. Even Will Ock zoned off. Ready? Will Ock.
You're looking at big Israel Raybon there, looking down the line and peering into Kevin McDougal. LeShon Johnson now in at running back in place of Avery. That pass is caught. Ron Merker's in there to put the hit on LeShon Johnson after no gain.
Here's what it's like if you're middle linebacker Ron Merkerson. He's got LeShon Johnson all the way.
It's like watching one of those Friday the 13th movies, you know that?
Or the Blair Witch Project.
Orlando.
Got that Mike Singletary look.
Chicago without a first down so far tonight. This is a big one to convert. Got a man wide open. You bet. Junior Lord, a big gain of 21, and the first down for the Enforcers tonight.
Play action fake sets this one up. Junior Lord coming underneath the coverage and flat out beating. Yeah, exactly.
Blue 44.
So 1st and 10 now. In the air again for Junior Lord, a gain of 5.
What, 2-yard game?
All right, yeah, you got it. Hum half right. 8 press. No, hum half left. 9 press.
Hum half left, 9 press on 2. Ready? Go, guys.
2nd and 6, play action fake here.
40, 57.
Unless the audible's at the line of scrimmage. That's one way to cover myself. Huh?
Absolutely. Be as vague as possible. On the ground for LeShon Johnson. Making something out of nothing as he gets close to a first down. You know what has most impressed and endeared Kevin McDougal to his coach Ron Meyer isn't the big flashy statistics. It's just the fact that he doesn't make mistakes as a signal caller.
Close it down. Close it down. 1-on-1. Ready?
They're starting the second quarter in Birmingham, and the Bolts still lead 7-1 Orlando. 9-0 Birmingham.
Green 88. Green 88.
Heavily favored Orlando, might I add. Junior Lord, the man out of the blast. Over the middle, complete, and a lot of running room for Aaron Bailey. There he goes. People missing tackles all over the place. Finally dropped by Ty Talton. A big gain of 30 yards and a first down for Chicago.
Yeah, baby.
And unlike Kevin McDougal's pass to Junior Lord, which was a little bit behind him, this time Kevin hits his best receiver, Aaron Bailey, in stride. This guy leads the league in average yards per catch with 18.9. He is a class receiver here, Aaron Bailey is.
And he does something after he catches the ball, too. A dangerous run route there. You know what's interesting, too? Chicago's knocking on the door. Right now, the New York defense has shut Chicago out for 5 quarters.
They just get the play off. Back in the ballgame is John Avery. This is best run to date. A gain of 5 around the outside. Maybe if they can open up that passing game, Mike, it'll make things a little easier for John Avery, where the defense may not be keying on him as much.
And it may be ever so slight, because with great running backs, it's hard to gauge, you know, when they go into the extra gear. He looks like he's just a little bit slower than normal.
But still very effective.
You got it.
We're regular, right? Nickel, be alert. Green 191.
The Enforcers, the only team with over 1,000 yards on the ground. The majority of those belong to this man. Here's Avery again, trying to get away from Bernard Russ. Oh, heads up. Gal holding up that sound dish just got absolutely hammered. And she's smiling to tell about it. That a girl.
She's okay, she says.
Yeah. That a girl. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. You sure?
Look out, Rachel. Look out, Rachel. Heads up, Rachel. Coming in hot. Oh.
Yeah, nice audio, huh?
She took a harder hit than Adam Lee ever did right there.
Rachel, can you describe exactly what happened?
Scary. Very scary.
All right, Fred, thanks.
Or maybe.
You know, whatever it takes to get the best audio possible. That's what this is all about. We'll be right back. For this coming week's hit of the week.
They got nothing on Rachel.
Parabolic microphone be darned. Heads up, Rach. That $3,000 will be deducted from your week 9 check, sweetheart. Oh.
Totally shattered.
Yeah, they're not worried about Rachel. They're worried about the damn speaker.
That's terrible.
She might have a little mouse under her eye there. She get.
Meanwhile, this is the 9th play of the Enforcers drive that started at their own 15. Oh, look out. He's got a man from the blind side. McDougal gets it. Oh, touchdown, Chicago! Luke Leverson, how did he make that grab in double coverage?
He's an ex-Minnesota kid, that's how.
I knew that would come out the first time he did something. I knew you couldn't sit on that for very much longer.
Hey, Matt, here's another one. Mike Brothers, the wide receiver coach in Minnesota, Coach Luke Leverson.
There you go.
9-yard scoring strike. Man, he went out and grabbed that ball. It was right in front of Joey Ellis.
Golden Gopher fans celebrate.
Oh, Luke didn't catch a pass in the first 5 weeks of the season, but he has become one of Kevin McDougal's favorite targets here. And they try the PAT 8 for 20 this year in the point after. McDougal's going to do it himself. Oh, my goodness, maybe not. Ty Dalton says no, no, no.
You think those DBs don't love it when they see a quarterback all by his lonesome like that?
I am surprised that Kevin McDougal, I know he's going to protect his throwing shoulder and everything, didn't try to truck this guy. Cutting back was the wrong thing to do there.
It was too early to slide into home. First, Rachel took a hit with the mic, and then Kevin McDougal took one trying for the PAT. And for those of you who still miss the Golden Girls in this time zone, we'll have Rue McClanahan in full pads right after this.
By Burger King. In the land of burgers, Whopper is king. And by 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
Well, a good one here at the Meadowlands. It was 8-0 home team after first quarter, but Chicago's come back with a recent touchdown, and they trail by 2. A good one here and a good one between Birmingham and Orlando. And the upstart Bolts still lead Orlando 9-0 in the second. That Orlando offense is an explosive one, so don't drop any change on the floor because you might miss some good action there. Lawrence Welk nowhere to be found. Or Don Ho for that matter. Kirby Dardar takes the kick at the 4. Tripped up and stumbles ahead to the 23.
Double left.
Yeah, baby! They can't mess with us. I'm trying to tell you, baby.
Some of the hard hits to date. It's been a good one so far. A playoff berth on the line. After this weekend, just 1 weekend of regular season play left in the XFL, and these two teams are playing like it's their final chance this year.
It is Chicago's.
McGuffey over the middle. Pass complete to Cosmo. He loses the football. It's picked up by Chicago. Matt Finkus is all over the fumble. Jinx.
And Rusty had the whole first quarter, but now he's losing the second quarter badly.
The very things that plagued the Enforcers through the month of February where they 0-4 now plaguing the York-New Jersey Hitmen. Come on, Kirby, you got to hang on to that football. Trying to get that extra yard, and it cost him.
I guarantee you.
Chicago with great field position now.
They're going to draw!
2 New York turnovers already tonight. That's LeShon Johnson. Brad Trout came up from the safety spot to make the tackle.
You know, with all the talk about John Avery, LeShon Johnson, pretty fair running back himself. He's second on this team and second in the league with rushes, touchdowns for 5. A young man who overcame.
Anthony DeCosmo's having some work done on the uniform, or at least on the trimmings. They're cutting tape.
191.
Whether or not that had anything to do with coughing it up, we'll never know. McDougal looking for a quick screen. Now he's got to look for a secondary receiver, and he's got him. Aaron Bailey still on his feet. He's dangerous every time he touches the ball, but this time he touched the sideline.
But still good enough for a first down.
It's a poor workman who blames his tools, right, Matt? I mean, that's not the reason why you've dropped the football, Anthony.
It is when you get next to the coach.
McDougal with 78 yards in the air. He's completed his last 6 passes.
Blue 44.
Took a while for Chicago to earn a first down, but since getting it, they've been strong offensively. LeShon Johnson up to the 5-yard line before Chris Mamalanga come up to make the stop.
Talking about what a quality running back LeShon Johnson is out of Northern Illinois, where he led the nation his senior year in rushing. Like Joe Aska, a great north-south runner. Jesse, I hate to keep referring to that, but he gives them another kind of compliments John Avery oh so well.
Chicago in the I formation now. They hand again to LeShon Johnson. Looked like he had a seam. He kept going, and they rule him down. No fumble on the play. Big break for Chicago, and they'll spot that one around the 2-yard line.
You got to be careful. You know you want to stretch for that end zone, but you don't want to cough it up at this point in time. And LeShon getting very close on this to turning the football over. Good call, though, by the referee. Down by contact.
And you see it from ground level. Clearly Johnson down on the play.
Green 88.
3rd and call it inches now for the Enforcers. Again out of the I, same play, different side. LeShon Johnson may not have gotten it.
Well, you got to kick this one. You want to get the lead. I would say so anyway. What do you think, Mike?
Absolutely, Jesse.
Kick it or wedge it.
Stop the clock!
Toward the
kick! Kick it! Hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up! What?
It looked like Ron Meyer wanted a timeout.
You know, all those people who argue about running, going for the touchdown, they said, you know, everybody should be able to make 1 yard on 4th down. Well, they didn't make 1 yard on 3rd down, so why could they make it on 4th?
Well, not only that, but you want to get the lead. You've got the momentum now. You've taken it away from New York. Chicago's got the momentum, and they're in the lead.
Absolutely. Little 18-yard chip shot, good for Andy Crossland, and Chicago has taken the lead here at the Meadowlands.
Kickoff coverage!
We went in the locker room before the game, and Coach Ron Meyer of Chicago said, this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. He's a prophet, because I'll tell you, Rusty Tillman and the New York came out sprinting, but now the marathon runners have taken the lead 9-8.
So often a team that plays and rides on a season of emotion like that sees the emotion fade away, and it's hard to regain.
Butler Bonote across the 25. Butler Bonote still on his horse down at the 50-yard line. The kicker had to do the dirty work. A 35-yard return for Butler Benote.
This is how you get your crowd back in a football game. Great special teams playing. The Ohio State Buckeye. If it wasn't for Andy Crossland, might have gone all the way.
And you notice he protected that football. When he knew he was going to get hit, he put both arms around it before he went down.
So good field position again.
40, hut.
Court McGuffey looking to pass. Has to buy some time. He's got a receiver, and it was dropped. Lou DiAgostino just checked into the ball game.
Just checked in onto the Hitmen's roster.
Quite literally, just checked into the ball game. Slap a uniform on this kid and send him out there, said Rusty Tillman. Well, so far, Court McGuffey, 5 of 9, 38 yards in the air.
Get set, get set.
On a screen pass to Kirby Dardar with plenty of room after the catch of first down for New York. A gain of 14. And that's the man waiting in the wings, Charles Polari, who was the opening day starter at quarterback. And the reason he didn't play tonight, or at least start tonight, according to Rusty Tillman, is Tillman didn't want Polari, a Bronx native, to endure the barbs and the booze and the raspberries that he heard the first 3 weeks. That's called the
Bronx cheer.
The Bronx cheer, right.
Let's flash back to February. Things were going so bad for this team and Charles Polari. He was booed unmercifully here at the Meadowlands, and that was one of the things that Rusty didn't want to start him because it created a negative atmosphere going in.
I wonder what kind of reception he'll get if he goes jogging out on the field here with the New York crowd.
Yeah, good question.
We approach the 2-minute warning here in the first half.
I think everything will be fine if New York moves in and scores right here.
We have indeed hit the 2-minute warning. A good one at the Meadowlands. We'll be right back.
Simplified, if New York wins, they're in.
Black 91! Hey. 91! Black 91!
Court McGuffey in the middle of a 4-play drive. Now that pass is caught. Complete to Anthony DeCosmo. A gain of 7 yards on the play and a first down for New York.
See what happens when you get rid of that rubber suit underneath your jersey?
That's right. It was the equipment. But then again, he lost it when he went out of bounds again. He was lucky he had the sidelines there.
McGuffey now 7 for 11, slowly but surely increasing that completion percentage as a result of a good drive here late in the second quarter. They're bringing a lot of people in the box. The blitz, McGuffey's got to get rid of it. He's got a receiver wide open, complete down to the 10, down to the 8-yard line rather, is Zola Davis, his first grab of the night.
Good job.
The Hitmen's leading receiver had been quiet, but that's a big one here inside of 2 minutes.
Great example of why the Hitmen coaching staff very high on Court McGuffey. In the face of a blitz, he didn't panic. He found his receiver and made the play. Taking a hit as well.
And give a lot of credit to that offensive line because they picked up the blitz and allowed McGuffey to throw the ball.
Boy, and we have seen way too many of those kind of hits this year, and loss of Orlando's Jeff Brom and several others.
Well, there's a little spring in the young man's step right now.
Him or the Bubba Cam guy?
Well, both of them, actually. They're both all geeked up. They're jacked up.
Right.
McGuffey got the early yips out of his system, driving effectively here to close out the quarter. Quick drop. Look out! They brought that blitz again, and Jason Bray came around the corner and got to McGuffey.
They were able to pick up one man, Ray Austin, number 36, but not Jason Bray.
He's got to release that football faster, Mike.
Trips, hey, listen. Trips right open. 20. 20. 20.
So it brings up a second and a bit longer into the corner. Was there interference in the corner? You got to be kidding me.
He's not going to call it. Whoa.
Gary Cooks rather, had the coverage on Ryan Collins, who looked like he was mugged.
A big mismatch. 6'7" Ryan Collins and 5'11" Gary Cooks.
How could he not throw the flag on that one? He was holding him as he ran. Hit him before the ball got there.
That flag burning a hole in somebody's pocket. It looked like Gary Cooks was trying to mount him from behind, for God's sake.
That's worth 30 yards in penalties.
And that one's incomplete.
I think that's the XFL's most severe infraction, mounting from behind.
Here comes a field goal unit now. Boy, 3 chances from within 12 yards, and they can't get the touchdown. This was the most recent attempt.
Well, I'm just happy, Matt, that you're making that call when we're not showing cheerleaders.
Here's Leo Aragoose from 28 yards out.
Watch it left! Watch it left!
Oh, look out. Aragoose has to shuffle a bit as he approaches the football and still bangs it through. Even the field goal kickers have to show improvisational skills here in this league.
Hey, we got to kick this ball away. Hey.
Glove save and a dandy by Court McGuffey, the holder there.
All right. Let's go, kick up.
And with that, New York reclaims their early lead. This takes good work by the holder.
Court McGuffey not just holding his own at quarterback tonight, but also doing the job as a holder, spinning that football and making sure the laces are away from Leo's instep.
All right, let's get a football.
And excellent by the kicker also, who had to stop his initial drive to the football and restart it again to throw his timing off.
So the clock stopped with 58 seconds left to play.
And that early safety's the difference so far, 11-9.
I like what this guy has done so far, Jesse.
I don't know, they're blitzing the hell out of us.
He's playing under control. He seems pretty relaxed out there and having fun.
Good throw. Let's go quick like that. That's what I got to get there.
Corey Ivy, the return man for Leo Arodou's kick. Starts the return at the goal line. And is brought down at the 24. Coming up on NBC to try and do something on the scoreboard before the halftime intermission.
And only one timeout.
57-4-3. Green 88. Green 88.
Looking downfield and deep. And it's caught. Complete to Junior Lord. Hitmen trying to say he was out of bounds when he caught it, but they'll mark that one at the 42. A big pass completion, a gain of 33 yards.
Jesse, this is something you and I have talked about all year long with regards to the play of defensive backs in this league. 21, Donnie Caldwell, never looked at the quarterback once, completely turned his back on him, and then allowed Junior Lord to make the...
And didn't know the ball was coming.
Exactly. Junior Lord just turned around and made a reception.
You got to at least look at the quarterback a little bit to see if the ball's coming or not.
It's a big chunk of yardage inside a minute. McDougal airs it out again, has another completion. That's Aaron Bailey, who gets out of bounds.
And they're working their way down into field goal.
Let's go. Half left, half left, half left.
And 2 excellent plays, Mike, because they've gotten out of bounds both times, so they haven't had to use their timeout.
Let's go.
You know, Aaron Bailey, who just made that big pass completion, told us yesterday that the receivers had been a bit frustrated because the passing game works so well in practice during the week, but things go bad on game day. That's not been the case tonight. Bailey 3 grabs for 50 yards, and they just get it off. Tipped and incomplete.
Kevin McDougal got lucky there.
That ends a string of 8 in a row completed by McDougal.
Now you're sitting here with a 3rd and 1. You got 32 seconds and a timeout. Do you dare run the football?
That's my fault. Let's go half right. 668 on 1. Ready? Come on, D. Let's go, defense. Green, yeah, green 88. 57. Green 88.
They do dare run the football with LeShon Johnson, and effectively still on his feet, tackled at the 16-yard line by Ron Merkerson. An 18-yard gain for LeShon Johnson.
Nice bit of running there.
Yeah, that was me.
And Chicago will burn their final timeout.
And LeShon Johnson is the real deal, no question about it. This guy he's been there and he's done this before. 1998, diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, got chemotherapy, sat out all of 1999, and has come back and realizing his dream again here in the XFL.
Well, John Avery's been quiet tonight, but that running game in good hands with LeShon Johnson out there. What about that do-rag, Jesse? Is that a legal affectation to the XFL uniform coming out the back like that?
Yeah, we're not the no-fun league. We're not out banning them.
Could somebody make a tackle by yanking on that thing?
I would imagine. I don't think that counts as a face mask.
John Avery watching this final drive before halftime. McDougal and the enforcers knocking on the door, hang him high in the zone, and Luke Liverson couldn't get to it.
Yeah, they're going to call that uncatchable, I guess. A little bit of contact right there when Luke tried to make his move to the ball.
But Brad Trout, the safety who is involved in that play for the Hitmen, he backed off. Nice play.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, trips right quick. 291.
Trips right quick. 291 on 1. Ready? Let's go. Let's go.
They better snap it quick. They're down to 5 seconds.
Green 88. Green 88.
And they just get it away.
3-step drop there. Oh!
Incomplete. Had a receiver, Aaron Bailey, on the slant. The pass was poorly thrown.
You know, when Aaron looks at this play next week in film study, he's going to berate himself for getting a little case of what they call alligator arms. You know, Kevin McDougal hung him out to dry a little bit. Didn't want to lay out completely, and I can't say as I blame him. He pulled him back real quick, thought he might have taken a lick from the safety.
989, okay, Fox.
Let's go.
Alligator arms.
Half right,
little bitty
Fox.
things.
989 on 1. Ready?
That's what Rogan gets when the check comes.
Well, with 16 seconds to go, you got to go to the end zone here, no doubt. You can't mess around with anything short of it.
They just get it off once again. Looking into the same corner as McDougal with plenty of time, all kinds of time. Got to find a man, Kev. Airs it out.
Touchdown!
Oh, touchdown! Leverson was there for it and stayed in bounds.
I'll tell you, those Minnesota wide receivers, and they got a coach up there that knows how to train them.
Let's go.
Right, Mike?
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm calling my brother up tonight right after the game, baby. I said, we can't give you any more pops than this.
But look at the time. That's the amazing thing. He buys the time, keeps scrambling around, finally finds Leverson in the back of the end zone. Touchdown.
And Luke not giving up the play as wide receivers are instructed. You see your quarterback in trouble back there. Find a way to get open, and Luke did just that.
Two touchdown catches tonight for Cool Hand Luke. McDougal hangs it into the corner. The PAT is good. Mark up 7 points for the visitors prior to the halftime intermission.
Luke, they call you Hot Hand Luke, obviously for a reason. 2 touchdown passes tonight. Great job of coming back to the ball.
No, just had a passing right on. Coverage broke down. Protection broke down. There's scramble rules. Y'all can get open in the end zone.
It's that training from Minnesota, isn't it?
Yeah, good training.
If my brother doesn't get elevated to offensive court next year, I'm going to be very surprised.
I think I'm the only guy without a personal agenda tonight.
Our Bud Light update features a 33-yard touchdown pass from Orlando's Brian Kuklik to Mario Bailey.
Hey, 2 Orlando unanswered touchdowns. Look out, clinching the home field advantage, 13-9.
Well, that's turned around a little bit. It was a 9-0 Bolt lead for most of the first half, but Orlando with a couple of second-quarter touchdowns. They're in the driver's seat as they get to the halftime intermission. And we've changed the situation around here as well. A Chicago touchdown and successfully converted PAT mean that the visiting Enforcers lead it by 5. Squib kick that's touched and then bounces out of bounds.
You didn't have to get it, dog. Pro.
Just kneel it. Just kneel it.
Yeah, okay. Just kneel. How can go over? What we got? Pro.
Well, Cord McGuffey's going to take a knee here before halftime.
Pro, we're just kneeling it. Kirby, get back here. All right.
Without a healthy Wally Richardson,
on the color, ready?
The Hitmen have played well offensively in the first half. Without a healthy John Avery, the Enforcers can sing the same song.
Well, John, you said you were about 70%. I guess that was pretty accurate because you haven't had to do a whole lot out there tonight yet.
Yeah, as long as we keep doing what we're doing offensively, those guys getting open, LeShon stepping up, running the ball, we're going to be okay. Uncle Bobby, I got you.
And on a defensive foul unless you decline the penalty. Do you want the penalty? Or if you decline it, the half is over.
We'll take
it. It's a 5-yard penalty.
It's only 5 yards?
Defense had more than 11 men on the field. By rule, the half cannot end on a defensive foul. 5-yard penalty, it's still first down. We'll extend the half for one untimed down.
They're not going to kneel down again, are they?
If they do, it's ridiculous to decline the penalty. Take a shot, throw a Hail Mary.
Maybe they didn't practice that enough in practice. They figure they can get an extra snap out here to work on it.
If, in fact, they take a knee, this will be the longest huddle before doing so in the history of professional
they're going to throw the bomb here or something.
Give it a shot.
Might get another penalty.
We might be able to talk about Minnesota again.
Fumble. Look at that.
Recovered by the Hitmen, and that's how the first half ends. Hot hand Luke is what Chris Raggy called him. He's taken 2 touchdown balls into the locker room at halftime.
Court, you head into the locker room trailing. At points in the first half, it looked like you held the ball a little long. Is that something you'll be thinking about at halftime?
Well, when we got down here close, they started sending everybody, and I couldn't find anything. We just got to keep it up, hold them on defense, and take advantage of the opportunities when we get them on offense.
Well, great action in the first half here at the Meadowlands. We'll follow these athletes into the locker rooms, and we'll be back after this word from your local stations. John Avery on the ground. And wrapped up before he can get to the 20-yard line. A gain of a yard. Ron Merkerson, the Hitmen's leading tackler, there to make the stop.
Well, Mike, I'm really kind of surprised to see Avery starting this second half. Especially the good running LeShon Johnson did. I agree with you. I would rest Avery unless you had to use him.
And John's coming out right now. You know, the thing about hamstring injuries, you can get all the treatment in the world, but they kind of leave at on their own accord. They decide when they want to leave your body. You can tell he is not the same back tonight.
3-22.
It is LeShon Johnson into the tailback spot. McDougal's got to look out for the heavy rush. Here they come. They get to the throwing hand. Almost picked off. Chris Malonga had a chance at a pick.
He was lucky. He threw that to a defensive lineman that doesn't have good hands.
Hey.
All right, flank right. Flank right. Liz, 865 drag.
Let's go. Flank right, Liz, 865 drag on 1. Ready? Right.
Chicago 4 of 7 in third down conversions in the first half. Well, they take advantage of every nanosecond on that play clock. There's the Mark Wilson lobber. And it's incomplete to J.G. Armstrong.
That was the drag receiver, the tight end coming across the middle.
That was a dangerous pass to throw, though, just lofting it that high in the air.
That had hang time like a punt.
In homage to the Rip Sewell Ephus pitch.
Looked like Matt Sandwedge.
Come here.
Doesn't matter how you get it done, just as long as you get it done. It was so wide open, that drag route by the tight end, that Kevin could get away with it.
Good enough for a first down, perhaps, as they bring the chains out to measure. The scoreboard already called that a first down. We'll see how generous the placement was.
Ready? First down.
By plenty.
You know, Kevin McDougal, 3-1 since he's come on as the Chicago Enforcers starter. Here's a guy who's looked at himself. He calls himself the underdog. When he was at Notre Dame for his senior year, getting ready for his senior year, Coach Lou Holtz advised him to transfer schools because he wanted to start Ron Paulus.
Yeah, that's a fine how do you do. He just led him to a Cotton Bowl appearance, and Coach Holtz says, you know what, you might want to get out of here because we got this Ron Paulus coming in, a freshman.
Green 88.
He is well conditioned to the adversities of football. Downfield incomplete. He's got Aaron Bailey. A first down for Chicago, and that passing game is healthy. Thank you very much.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
A 19-yard gainer made possible by a sweet pump fake.
And his go-to guy, his roommate on the road, Aaron Bailey, and he squeezed that into a real tight hole. And one of the reasons he's able to do this, he thanks his Arena Football League background for being able to do that. The field's smaller in the Arena League. You can find those tight seams like that.
And that was a terrific throw because he threw into double coverage.
Green 88.
Here comes the blitz. McDougal with play action makes the man miss and finally throws it away. Joey Ellams had a clean shot at him, but ever evasive, McDougal stayed on his feet.
All right, you got zoom, hum, trips right. Hum, trips right. Scan, 8CD corner.
Hum, trips right, scan, 8CD corner on one, ready?
Chicago starting to amass huge numbers in the total offense.
And that's amazing because they had virtually nothing after the first quarter. I think 4 yards.
Chicago driving with time out of the field. We're underway in the second half. So Chicago, 5 plays into a drive, 47 yards into a drive. Hand to Leverson, little reverse play, and it just gets back to the line of scrimmage.
You imagine number 95, Dwayne Saab, all 6'5", 247 pounds of him coming at you, and you're a wide receiver.
You're a wide receiver looking for a reverse, hoping there's no one out in front of you, and all you do is see those black and blue shirts everywhere around you.
Prepare to meet your maker.
Here's the view from the Blair Witch Project cam as Jesse Ventura has teamed it. McDougal over the middle. Pass complete, caught by the ex-Jet Fred Coleman.
Good job, Smoke.
Kevin McDougal has really got the rhythm going now.
We're going half left, 9 press. Half left, 9 press, first sound.
Half left, 9 press, first sound. Ready?
McDougal already with more completions and more yardage than in the entire game last week, week 8. On the ground, LeShon Johnson, no love. Tawambi settles on the tackle.
Guys, just talked with John Avery a few moments ago. As you can see, he's no longer holding his helmet. Asked him, John, how are you feeling? He said, you know what? I haven't re-aggravated the hamstring, but I don't have that burst that I need to be successful on the field. Looks like he's pretty much done for the night.
Good job, boy. Good job. Good job, boy. Best blocker in the league. The best blocker in the league right here. Best blocker in the league.
Well, that injury had to be worse than what Coach Meyer led us to believe at the outset of the game.
John Avery reduced to cheerleader tonight on the sidelines. He can only watch as his teammates try to make the pass.
And that was picked up by Joey Ellis. There goes the Hurricane, the two-way player from Indiana, still on his feet. He returns it all the way. Hitman touchdown. Yards on the pick and score. And the Hitmen go back on top.
Well, Kevin McDougal had been living large tonight. In fact, he got away with a couple of passes he shouldn't have thrown. This one he didn't get away with, and it floated on him. He threw into coverage right there, double coverage, Jesse. Easy pick for Joey Ellis.
And just when Chicago thought they had everything going for them, they're driving down, getting into scoring range. Now they're trailing. That might have been a million reception right there.
20.
Here's the point after drive. Court McGuffey play action. It's good. Ryan Collins, the big tight end. And my, how the tide has turned in Jersey.
A week ago, New York-New Jersey, the Hitmen had not scored a single touchdown via the defense. Ron Merkerson returned a fumble for a touchdown last week. Here, Joey Ellis returns this interception for a pick. A defensive back's dream.
Joey, I'm not angry anymore. Court McGuffey finds Ryan Collins for the PAT.
Joey, did he go to the well once too often with that pattern and you were just waiting?
First of all, I just want to thank God for the opportunity, you know what I'm saying, to be here. Secondly, I mean, you know, you just got to go make a play sometimes. Thank God I was a man this time. Happy birthday, Aaron and Harrison. Hi, Mom. Hi, Granny. How y'all doing? I love you.
New York back on top. We'll be right back. 4 lead changes tonight. The most recent puts the home team back on top by 2. This is Corey Ivy. Corey Ivy around the corner. And run out of bounds by Leo Aragus at the 51-yard, the 50-yard line. This is how an interception starts. It's from the bench.
Let's go dive pin, zone blitz. Play him tight. Play him tight, Joey. Joey, play him tight. Play him tight.
Joey Ellis playing him tight, but watching the quarterback. Kevin McDougal telegraphed that pass, Jesse, and when you watch a quarterback's eyes, good things will happen.
Well, we talked about that earlier, Mike, that they weren't watching, and that time they did and got an interception for a touchdown, but great kickoff return, excellent field position. Look at this.
Oh, LeShon Johnson breaks a big one, still on his feet. Burns a safety and tackled at the 22. Damon Wheeler and Ty Talton had to get to him as he broke it for 25 big yards.
And Chicago right back knocking on the door again. What a ball game.
This is a luxury that not too many teams in this league have. You lose a quality back, maybe the best back in the league in John Avery, and you can put a LeShon Johnson in. A guy who's got a lot of experience, who's got a great burst, who wants it bad. 61 yards in a night so far for LeShon Johnson, and Chris Mamalonga, who is a huge key to that New York defensive front, leaving the game right now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good news for New York.
Let's hold you out for a little bit. Yeah.
Ron Meyer and his staff love this guy. Now, Ron Meyer coaches the other team, bear in mind. And Meyer certainly will not be among those weeping to see him leaving the field. In fact, Meyer can't believe how this guy's not playing on a Super Bowl championship team.
Blue 88! Blue 88!
Now New York without the key on the line. Fumble. McDougal jumps on it, however.
The thing you ought to take a look at is the center for the Chicago Enforcers, Paul Janis. His left hand is encased by a giant cast. There it is right there. I don't know how the heck you center the ball like that. He said it's not a problem. What is a problem is you can't cold a guy.
With one hand, Mike.
Yeah. Let's go.
That's how you do it.
My God, it's like Richard Keel. Like Richard Keel in the longest yard.
That's a heck of a weapon there, huh?
Let me tell you.
Just don't give us his most famous line, Matt.
White 191.
Oh, mean machine.
Oh, my goodness. And it's picked off. David Wheeler. His third pick of the year. And McDougal still down.
Not again.
And now we got a flag after the play. Tempers flaring. Meanwhile, the Chicago signal caller is still flat on his back.
Just the window, right? Okay. Just easy, deep breaths. Hold that. Okay.
After the play was over, personal foul, number 91, Chicago, for unnecessary.
Nice, easy breaths. Nice, easy breaths.
No.
Just knock the wind out of it.
Well, this is what happened to Kevin McDougal after the pass. As you can see, they're still attending to him. Here's how it went down. Oh, no. Big Vernon Crawford got him from the blind side.
You know, that was not a dirty hit by Vernon Crawford by any stretch of the imagination.
Not at all. And here's the great interception right there by Wheeler.
He's out. He was out. He was out. Left. He was out.
Hey, come.
And that was the penalty after the play. Tempers are flaring with a lot on the line.
The imagination.
Not at all. And here's the great interception right there by Wheeler.
He's out. He was out. He was out. Left. He was out.
Hey, come.
And that was the penalty after the play. Tempers are flaring with a lot on the line. We'll be right. And a big interception has given the ball back to the home Hitmen, rather, with 6:44 left in the third.
Set. Red 40.
Vernon Crawford was the guy that applied the hit on Kevin McDougal and knocked him out of the ball game. Then the pick, and now it's the offensive unit on the field. Court McGuffey up top and incomplete, looking for Zolda Davis.
Basically, he's got a neck sprain, and he got the wind knocked out of him. So we're going to get something clever. I'll let coach know.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, I'll be on.
Kevin McDougal's one of those guys who you got to grab and drag off the field, and we'll see if he's good to go. If not, the Plan B quarterback for Chicago is a guy they acquired at a trade with Memphis after week 3 of the season. Craig Whalehan, we might be seeing the ex-Charger tonight.
Okay, yeah, I see that. Yeah, you got to be ready for that. Just execute the checks. Gotcha. And let's move it. Gotcha. Kevin, you know, he wants to throw that the fade too much. Gotcha.
Kevin McDougal going to the locker room for precautionary x-rays, a neck sprain, the early diagnosis.
They just get the play off before the time clock expires. McGuffey's going to head off the run and won't get very far. A gain of 2 yards on the play. A 3-and-out by New York as the punting unit comes onto the field, and we'll see in moments.
Whalehan will get his chance.
Greg Whalehan will make his first appearance tonight in less than ideal circumstances. This will be a live ball at the 48-yard line. Corey Ivy and Luke Leverson there to return it. Another big kick by Leo Araguz. My goodness. It's Ivy at the 18. Dragged down at the 34. Flag on the play.
Hey, you got.
Well, we'll see the new signal caller for the Enforcers when we come back. Top of Chicago, 18-16, 4:35 left in the third quarter. Corey Ivy, late at night when you're sleeping, Corey Ivy comes creeping around. A fake and a hand up the middle to LeShon Johnson up the middle. Another good run, good for a first down. We check in with the Orlando-Birmingham game in Birmingham, and it's still Orlando by a point in the third.
Flank right, 2 jab wide, or 3 jab wide on 2, ready? 3.
A 12-yard run for LeShon Johnson and another Chicago first down.
Set hot.
Wheelahan so far 2 handoffs, and why not with LeShon Johnson running as effectively as he is? That's a gain of 9.
Let's go back to that game in February 24th. Granted, the conditions were horrible, but Chicago's offensive line was decimated. Paul Janis was out with that broken hand. Rob Murphy, who hadn't played center since college at Ohio State, was the new center. They were in total disarray. They had lost Octavius Bishop the previous week in that game, but tonight they are really doing a heck of a job, Jess.
They're running the football. You know, as good as LA has the 2 good quarterbacks, Chicago has 2 great running backs.
Boy, nothing this time as Charles Wiley had checked into the backfield, dropped for a loss of 3. Israel Raybon and Chris Mamalanga, who's back in the ball game, combined for the tackle.
Raybo surprisingly quiet tonight until there. And look at Mau Mau. He single-handedly whooped Chicago's offensive line in that last game. And like we were talking about earlier, surprised he's not a Super Bowl caliber player.
Let's go. Wheeler here. Green 80.
And he's talking a little bit to the new signal caller of the Enforcers. Pass is complete. He finds Aaron Bailey.
I told you lost it, Will.
Well, they're not missing a beat with Craig in there right now.
Right, 4 belly, ghost.
Let's go. We're going half right, 4 belly, ghost. On 1, right?
This is the 5th play of the drive for Chicago. Wheelahan, a cool customer off the bench. And off up the middle. That's Charles Wiley again. The reason Wheelahan's in there is because quarterbacks have been punished tonight.
Throw it away! Throw it away!
Tonight, no different from any night in the XFL. That's Court McGuffey. He's taken his share of licks as well. And another man down. That's Israel Raybon down. They can ill afford to be without the tackles. Mamalanga went down earlier. He's back. And now Raybon is hurt.
Chris Mamalanga's case, I thought it was just a matter of him being a little fatigued and giving him a rest, but this might be a little more serious in the case of Israel Raybon.
The first time these two teams played one another, Chicago and New York, the New York defensive tackles combined for 13 tackles and 7 sacks. That's because that running game is so important for Chicago. New York was there to answer the bell because those interior linemen were so strong.
Yeah, if you look at the total yards right now, Chicago 291, New York, New Jersey 115, and they got most of that in the first quarter.
Green 99.
Yet they got the lead.
Green 99.
Those turnovers loom large.
Leverson out of the forward blast, handoff to LeShon Johnson. A loss of a yard.
There's Mau Mau again, baby.
Hold up. Huh? On the right side? Which side you want?
Side, man, God. So what? No text. I rolled it in. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm moving side like that.
Green 88!
See what Janice does with that injured hand. The glove.
Quick drop by Wheelahan. Airs it out, and he's got it.
Nice
It's
catch.
complete. Junior Lord.
Beautiful catch by Lord, keeping his feet in bounds and stretching out for the ball.
This was a pro throw by Craig Wheelahan here, too. Junior Lord. Oh, talk about breaking off a pattern. And right there on the money, Wheelahan.
And a first down for Chicago. Junior Lord not even worrying about the 1 foot in bounds XFL rule. Might as well get them both down there if you can.
Just showcasing his skills.
Inside of 30 seconds now in the third quarter. Wheelahan hands to LeShon Johnson. Met head on and tackled by Ty Talton to gain of 5.
They are running to the strength of that New York-New Jersey defense, and
I got 85 right over here.
doing a great job of it.
Okay, it's going to be end of the quarter.
Time ticks down on the third quarter. There's 1 quarter left. One of these teams is in it with the Meadowlands. Tonight's XFL action. This one here in New York and action in Birmingham might well determine who goes to the playoffs in that remaining Eastern Division spot. That was LeShon Johnson for 5 yards. And speaking of Orlando and Birmingham, the Rage on top 13-12 in the fourth. And this is a thumbnail sketch of the playoff picture. If Chicago wins tonight here and Orlando beats Birmingham, Birmingham is out of the playoff picture, and Chicago would have to win next week, or an Orlando-New York loss, Chicago gets to the playoffs. Timeout on the field. We'll try to put further context to this playoff picture as we're in the fourth quarter in the Meadowlands. We'll be right back. Chicago is 9 plays into a drive that's eaten up over 5 minutes on the clock.
First down.
Well, we're with Kevin McDougal. Kevin, you took quite a shot. What is the diagnosis?
Yeah, it's just a little neck sprain. I'll be all right. I'll be back. You know, the doctor's doing a good job back there, so, you know, I'll be back playing, so I'm not worried about it.
Question is, when is he going to be back? Right now, Craig Wheelahan doing a great job of guiding this Enforcers offense.
Absolutely. I'd be a little hesitate to make that switch back right now.
First and 10 at the 15 for Chicago. LeShon Johnson stumbles for a couple of yards. Ron Merkerson came up to make the stop for the Hitmen. Big Merk, guy whose father is a pro boxing trainer.
Roy Jones Jr.
Roy Jones Jr., Ray Mercer, among others. Pretty distinguished list of clients.
T is right, T is right.
But even Big Merk has been ineffective in trying to stall the Chicago drive, now on the 12th play. LeShon Johnson again, and why not? He's got a corner.
Oh, baby.
He loses the football. And the Hitmen recover. Ty Talton was there to jump on it.
So hard to fault a guy who has been playing so well tonight, LeShon Johnson. He saw that end zone. But when you know contact is coming, you've got to have both hands on the football. You know that end zone is close.
And that was a clear fumble, no doubt about it. You can see he takes the hit right there. The ball pops loose before he's down on the ground. Talton with the recovery.
Talton with the hit.
Now McGuffey and the Hitmen offense on the field. Joe Aska with a run across to the 11-yard line, a gain of 8. Ty Talton making the hit and the recovery. That changes possession on the 2-yard line.
And now it's up to the Chicago defense to step up and hold New York right here and get the ball back after a beautiful drive. Stop the Enforcer offense.
Over 100 yards tonight for LJ. But the play he'll remember most, that one that just occurred. Joe Aska, a big cog in the first quarter for the Hitmen.
The last 2 weeks, you and John Avery both run real hard. You're going for the extra yards, but you guys have been coughing the ball up.
You know, I just want to win. That last play, you know, stuff happens. You know, trying to make something happen. And they just got a good hit and knocked the ball loose. But I'll be back.
And it was a big hit indeed. There's no faulting LeShon Johnson about leaving that football out over the goal line. He just took a big hit that time.
Ty, you made the hit, you recovered the fumble, and then you took the ball off the field with you.
Oh, yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank God for this opportunity. Say what's up to the Taunton family. And, you know, we just got to make plays as a defense. And right now, this is our playoff game, and I'm playing it like it's my last game. What's up, SSS?
Why did you steal the ball?
Hey, this ball goes to my parents. Every ball I get goes to Mom and Dad for getting me where I'm at today.
They are making the plays tonight, are the Hitmen.
Hold on just a second.
Three Chicago turnovers.
All right, we got Tim Slot, left, check, 36 slant or 24 lead on one-on-one. Ready?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, Mike, Chicago winning the battle of total yardage, but trailing on the scoreboard.
Court McGuffey with a check with me play at the line of scrimmage.
Getting Doc.
He'll take a look at what the enforcers have on defense and adjust accordingly.
Black 25! Black 25!
Going with the run play from their own 14, Joe Aska has a seam up the middle and close to a first down. Just over 11 minutes left, perhaps, in the life of one of these two teams in action tonight. Orlando has clinched a playoff spot in the East. Chicago and New York are battling for that second and final spot within this division. Quite simply put, if Chicago wins, they're still alive. If New York wins and Orlando wins tonight, it's the Hitmen that go to the postseason dance. Met at the line of scrimmage. Jamie Baisley there to smoke Joe Aska. And that's what's happening in the other contest tonight. Orlando on top, 16-12 at Birmingham in the fourth.
And with a playoff spot on the line, both these teams playing with a sense of urgency. One of the best middle linebackers in the game in the XFL, Jamie Baisley, having quite a season for the Enforcers.
Set. Red 20.
Third and short down for the Hitmen. The short yardage alignment out there. Aska's got the first down for New York.
And the non-existent running game from the first quarter is now starting to come back for the New York Hitmen right when they need it to chew up some clock and get some field position back.
Aska was ripping off huge chunks of real estate in the first quarter. New York went away from that kind of offense.
Sit in there on this, okay? We're going on two. Dot right, 38, toss on two, ready?
You know, last week, New York with 30 yards on the ground as a team. Tonight, Joe Aska's ripped off, to use your term, 80 by himself. This is Aska again, and tripped up for a loss. Met by Jamie Baisley once again.
Go. Hot. Oh, shit.
Little help from Ray Austin on the tackle. A loss of a yard on the play.
Watch him out here. Watch him out, Torque. Set. Blue 20. Blue 20. Hot. Oh.
To Aska one more time. They're calling his number often here in the fourth quarter. No gain on the play as Jason Chorak came up to make the tackle. Oh. In basketball action today, Arizona with a big win over Michigan State. The reigning champs are done, and the Wildcats will go to the final dance. Maryland Duke game. How about Duke coming back from a huge deficit for a win?
Takes one.
And that'll be your NCAA championship matchup.
Red 40. Hut.
Little swing pass out to Dino Filion. A gain of 4 on the play. The Hitmen defense has been strong tonight. By my count, that's 1, 2, 3 Chicago turnovers forced by the Hitmen tonight, and my, have they been costly. It's a live ball at the 42. Eric is with another big punt. Ivy backed up to his own 11. Up ahead to the 32, a flag on the play.
Let's go, baby. It's time.
Plenty of time left for the Chicago Enforcers.
It's time.
7.5 minutes left in one of these two teams' season tonight. The flag we saw prior to the break was a 10-yard clipping penalty and marks the ball back to the 18-yard line of the Enforcers. That's where Craig Wheelahan takes over. Little out is complete to Aaron Bailey. No gain on the play, however. Guy that makes the stop once again, Ty Talton.
And there's another Hitman down on the ground. He's getting up and staying in, though.
Whether it's Kevin McDougal or Craig Wheelahan, the Chicago passing game has been in check tonight, and they're doing this, guys, against a pretty good pass defense.
Number 1 in the league, 2 in total defense.
Hold up.
Good to see Kevin McDougal back, at least warming up on the sideline after he was diagnosed with a slight case of dizziness and a slight neck sprain. And you heard him say himself, he's okay, as they escorted him into the locker room.
About time they stretch this defense and go deep, Mike. We haven't seen a deep pass in a long time.
Green 88.
Play action. Over the middle and batted away. Damon Wheeler got between Wheelahan and Aaron Bailey to deflect it.
They heeded your call, Jesse, but Damon Wheeler, these guys, early in the game, they were beat.
Excellent play right here. Reads the ball, sees it right off the quarterback's hand. Nice defensive play.
And John Avery, as we mentioned at the top of this telecast.
Got the warning, baby. Got the warning.
The strained hamstring muscle did start, but he's out for the rest of the game, and not much of a factor. The XFL's leading rusher.
A big third down attempt here. Little completion out to LeShon Johnson, trying to run for the first down. Stopped short of the first. A gain of 7 as Ron Merkerson prevented him from getting that all-important first down.
First down, baby. Okay,
all right,
let's go.
Got you.
Go for your read, baby.
All right.
Under 6 minutes.
We're going to the wire.
It's a live ball at the 44-yard line. Andy Crossland on to punt. Kirby Dardar, the receiving man for New York. Dardar begins the return at his own 18. Running the wrong way. Bobbled the football and dropped at the 15-yard line. Big special teams play left for the Enforcers. There's about 5 minutes left in somebody's season tonight.
And if the Bolts can hang on for a victory and New York can hang on here, Chicago is out.
Set. Red 24.
Cord McGuffey takes over at his own 15-yard line with just over 5 minutes of football left tonight. Joe Aska falls for a yard.
Good job, Ray.
Well, he leads it by 2, but it has been an emotional, frustrating night for Coach Rusty Tillman.
It's one way to cool off your soup.
Whenever the head coach does the motorboat thing with his lips, you know there's a lot on his mind.
Like fake 35 gut naked.
They got to get some production here out of Court McGuffey, their backup quarterback who started tonight in place of the injured Wally Richardson.
Red 40. Red 40. Hut.
McGuffey 9 of 16 with 81 yards in the air. Rolling right, dumps it off, and that one's complete to the tight end, Ryan Collins. Good for a first down.
And that's a huge first down. Keeps the clock running down to 4:10.
Collins, a huge target at 6'7".
Okay. Deuce.
Johnson and Pete, right now, you're... Set! Blue 36!
Where are you?
Blue 36! Hut!
Joe Aska runs into a pack of tacklers. A gain of 4.
And you heard Ron Meyer yell to his defensive coordinator, hey, we got to start blitzing. We got to make something happen. He understands the urgency of the situation. 3:27 remaining. New York with a 2-point lead. These guys lose. Birmingham hangs on. Chicago Enforcers are out of the playoffs.
Let's remember, though, Chicago's defense, if they come up and stop them now, look how quick they scored before the end of that first half.
You can come off that and come back to...
Set! Set! 40!
Their defense has got to come up with plays now, Chicago. Oh, there's 5 yards against the Hitmen.
Well,
that's one way to help the defense.
Last week, Chicago induced 5 turnovers. Their defense was knocking the ball out of their hands all night long. So far tonight, Rusty Tillman's Hitmen have coughed it up twice.
Is that Robert Hunt from San Francisco?
Only the second penalty of the night against the Hitmen. Makes for a 2nd and 9 for Court McGuffey. Joe Aska's got a hole. He breaks the big fumble, and there it is. Chicago gets the big fumble they've been praying for. Quincy Coleman scoops it up.
See what they're in here. What are they in?
At the end of a 13-yard run, Joe Aska loses the football. And Ron Meyer's prayers are answered in the Meadowlands.
And remember, they only need a field goal. They're just down by 2.
Kevin McDougal back at quarterback for Chicago.
Watch it! 91! Blue 191!
Going for the downs. Bailey had a step on his man.
Flag on the play. Joey Ellums, who had the big interception and touchdown return, is going to be flagged for PI here.
And that's...
And what a costly mistake here. And an iffy call.
Boy, that's a big game type call to make in that situation, and a play that looked like it could have been called incidental contact.
And they only need a field goal. They can run the ball now, too, and eat up all the clock.
Hold up. Hold up.
2 minutes.
Me 6.
We couldn't have asked for any more drama. 2-minute warning. We'll be right back.
We're going to stay, Matt.
Oh, we're going to stay?
Yeah, I told them. We're not going anywhere.
2-minute warning. We're going to stay right here. I want to do that again.
Try that again. Get some seasoning, Matt.
Well, we're not going anywhere with 2 minutes left and a 2-point game on the line.
Okay.
And this is as it should be.
Let's go with belly.
Go with belly. Might get us a touchdown. We'll go with the belly the first.
Now I'm going to go 3 wide.
Give it to him again. Give it to him again. Another Bud Light update from Birmingham, Alabama. The Birmingham Bolts with a huge play. Defensive back Eric Sloan with an interception and a 60-yard touchdown return.
Well, Eric Sloan gives them new life. They're clinging to a playoff possibility. Well, that's his third pick of the night, an XFL record. Now they lead 24-55.
LeShon Johnson stutters ahead for 2 yards. And there's that update, courtesy of Bud Light. Birmingham has opened up a bigger lead at home against Orlando, doing their best to really cloud up this playoff picture.
Jesus! I'll be back.
New York calls a timeout. They're second to the half.
Should Chicago score and win?
8 seconds. listen, they are going to run the ball again, and they'll probably run it inside. I want to go, take Tornado. All right, let's go under one side and tell them we're going to run it again now. Everybody stay in their gaps. Let's go.
All 34 points tonight came in the first 2.5 quarters.
Half left. Pack, half left. Quick, slip, shoot on one. Ready?
Well, Rusty thinks Chicago's going to run the football. I don't think they are.
Green 88. Set. Hit.
There's the pump fake. A wide open tight.
On a wide open tight end. Willy Tate, touchdown Chicago.
Well, they fooled Rusty Tillman on that. He thought it was going to be an inside running play. They faked the handoff, went back, found the tight end wide open down the sidelines. A big touchdown.
Coach Adamley called it right. A 19-yard TD pass, and the Enforcers have taken a lead.
Little play action right there, wide open.
And as it should be, Kevin McDougal, who missed 2 series because of the injury, coming back out of the locker room with that sprained neck, and then finding Willy Tate for what should be or could be the decisive touchdown.
The former Oregon Duck with a huge TD reception. Here's the point after try. LeShon Johnson, it's good. The 5th lead change of the game has made this an urgent moment for Coach Rusty Tillman.
For who? Wheels? What are you talking? Oh, you mean on the kickoff return? All right. You still got Kirby. Let him go left side. Let him go left side.
How big was that PAT?
What do we like best? Special left or wedge left?
Because they had to have a touchdown anyway, Matt. They didn't even need that point after.
It looked good though, Jesse.
It did. Oh yeah, it looked great.
I'll tell you what, it was big. It was big for LeShon Johnson, who had that costly fumble that could have put this game away for Chicago. It restored his confidence if he ever lost it.
Yeah, but he don't need confidence. It's their defense that needs confidence now, Mike.
They have stood up to the test so far tonight.
They don't have to worry about the offense with 1:41 to go. It's all on the Chicago defense and Rusty Tillman's New York offense.
And their rookie quarterback, Court McGuffey.
Tune in tomorrow to catch more XFL action as this playoff picture gets even cloudier. First on TNN, Tommy Maddox in the Extreme looked to lock up first place in the West against the Maniacs. Then at 7 Eastern on UPN, it's a matchup of 2 teams battling it out for the final playoff spot in the West as the Demons travel to the desert to take on the Outlaws. That's the XFL tomorrow. Butler Benote picks up the kick at the 12-yard line. Still in bounds and finally run out at the 34. Well, this is it. Back to the wall for Court McGuffey.
Tell Ryan we're going to go flex off if we go speed. Unless you tell him different.
And they won't be running the ball here. They'll be throwing it every down.
Listen. Hey, we got speed right off the gate, okay? No, I'm going to go underneath. Slide left, 906, read wide on 1. Set. No, he can move.
All kinds of motion, all kinds of pretty yellow flags. Jason Chorak was among those a little too eager.
Let's go. Let's go.
If both of the teams that lead tonight, and we're speaking of Chicago here and Birmingham in the other game tonight in XFL action, if both of those teams hang on to win, all teams in the Eastern Division are still alive for the playoffs.
Red 20.
Chicago still has a chance to control their own destiny, because if they win tonight and next week, it doesn't matter what Birmingham does. Chicago will go to the postseason, but New York trying to make that as difficult as they can. A first down on the grab by Kirby Dardar, a gain of 15.
And with the 5-yard offside penalty in that catch, they're in Chicago territory. Less than half the field to go.
Slide right, on 1. Here we go.
Without question, the biggest defensive series of the year for the Enforcers. They bring the blitz. McGuffey on the run. He's across the line and out of bounds. A gain of 3.
Boy, when you consider the plight of these two teams, 1-0-3, 1-0-4 to start the season, and to be here tonight.
Open. Just get him out there open. Slide. 384, shallow wide.
Okay, here.
Watch that takes 2.
Let's go twins left, slide left, 384, shallow right, on one-on-one. Ready? Gun, gun, gun.
Set, red 20. Red 20. Hot.
McGuffey picks up a good block over the middle and complete. Anthony DeCosmo wrestled down at the 15.
What a big throw by Court McGuffey.
How does a guy get that open when you're in a prevent defense? Look at that. The help comes over from the other safety way too late, playing that way too soft, Mike.
And Dorian Brew saving the touchdown for Chicago.
Hold up, hold up, hold up.
Court McGuffey picks a great time to execute his longest completion of the night, and it's made Ron Meyer's night a little more difficult.
Hey, give me 572.
Look, don't worry. Listen, we're going to go a hot, dry blitz. You understand that? Done. It's done.
Stay dive all the way. Let's go.
Just over a minute left here.
384, shallow wide, on one-on-one. Ready?
1. First and 10 on the 15 for New York.
Chicago with the dime package, 6 defensive backs. Same play.
Incomplete this time as he overthrows his tight end. And that's McGuffey's first incompletion in his last 5 attempts.
Well, they'll get 3 more shots to the end zone for sure.
He's talking to quarterbacks. I don't like interrupting him.
Well, I know, but I mean, I see that. I don't know if he sees it or not. Set. Red 89. Red 89. Hot.
Little screen pass, Kirby Gargar with a little bit of running room down at the 5. Dorian Brew made the all-important stop. Time rolls at 45 ticks and counting.
Flex right.
No huddle offense.
212 flat block. 212 flat block. Quick slide left.
McGuffey trying to call the play at the line of scrimmage. Flushed out of the pocket. Flag on the play. Pass is caught at the goal line.
No.
Pass is not caught at the goal line. They ruled that Ryan Collins trapped it. And let's check out the penalty flag.
Immaterial anyway.
Holding. New York.
We're going to have third down.
Now what do you do, Mike? Do you take the 4th down or do you move them back? I say you got to move them back. You got to move them back.
Down right there. No, come back here now. Take it back.
They look like they're going to decline this penalty.
The players want to send them back, that's for sure.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay third down. Hey!
2 zone.
30. Watch the screen. Watch the screen.
That's just the 3rd penalty tonight on the Hitmen, but what an important one it is with inside a minute left to go.
16.
Just an indication of how much better this team has been playing now.
Slide right, 272, corner angle, on one-on-one. Ready? Underneath, underneath.
New York can still achieve a first down without scoring if they can get it inside the 5.
Red 20. Red 20.
McGuffey flushed down once again on the run. Lets it fly, and it's knocked away.
2 flags. 2 more flags.
He crossed the line of scrimmage, Court McGuffey did.
Go 5 yards and lost it down.
And even worse, the loss of down.
Right.
Well, then now the season's down to 1 play.
All right, it's a loss of down. Yeah, it's a loss of down. Right.
What a finish.
Illegal forward pass. The quarterback was beyond the line when he threw the ball. 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Loss of down.
Hey, you got to take a
fourth
timeout.
down. And there's a 10-second runoff on the clock by rule. Reset the clock to 6 seconds.
This is it. This is it.
Well, you couldn't throw anything else into that equation to make it more dramatic. Loss of down, loss of 10 seconds. And there is 6 seconds left.
How good is this? John Avery, who has missed most of the second half, agonizing over this thing.
And he won't watch. I watched John earlier. He puts the towel over his head and looks down at the ground. He won't even watch.
New York has to spend their final timeout.
Timeouts are up. You don't burn 10 seconds. You don't burn 10 seconds.
2. I'm going to tell Kos to run a seam. I'm going to go 272. I'm going to go flex left, slide right, 272, corner angle, but I'm going to tell Kos to run a seam down the middle. I'm going to hit him for a touchdown.
Come on, the block.
Cord, now you don't need.
Hey, Kos, run a read route right in the middle of this cover 2.
We're on the back.
Don't go 2, go all vertical, all vertical.
We got flex right, slide left, 272, corner angle, you're running
all
a read.
vertical, don't run 2s, Cord.
Yeah, go to the end zone. Here we go, all one, ready? No.
And keep your eyes on New York's number 84, Anthony DeCosmo. He's the guy that Court McGuffey wants to go to. All 3 wide receivers are going to go vertical, go deep, going for it all. Here it is.
If Chicago holds, they're still alive. McGuffey passes. Chicago's still alive! A huge road victory for the Enforcers as Jamie Baisley intercepts Court McGuffey.
That's classic linebacker play. Drop back deep in your zone coverage and look for the football.
I'm sure you get him.
5 lead changes tonight at the Meadowlands. The end result is that the Enforcers are still breathing in the East.
They beat Orlando next week. They're in the playoffs.
Hell yeah.
Jamie Bailey, so many big plays in this game, but none bigger than this pick. Court McGuffey going for it all, but Baisley dropping back in coverage like you mentioned, Jesse.
Coach, first off, how's it?
Good job.
First off, how's your health?
Oh, man, we make it interesting. Wow, what a great interception down there, Rusty. Congratulations. Thank you. All right. Well, what can you say? It was just a terrific ball game played by both sides. 2 great teams fighting for their chance in the playoffs.
And your playoff life is still alive.
We're fighting hard. We'll be there.
Ron Meyer sounds like Steven Tyler at the end of an Aerosmith national tour. Birmingham leads Orlando by a point in the 4th. Oh my, is it getting good? Chicago still alive for a playoff spot. A huge come from behind victory here on the road. For Jesse Ventura, Mike Adamley, Fred Rogan, Chris Raggy, this is Matt Vasgersian. Stay with us on NBC. A big night of sports tomorrow, Saturday Night Live coming up later tonight. We'll see you next week.
Yeah!
This is the XFL!
Front for Chicago.
And already miscommunication. McGuffey was looking one way, he turned the other way, and there's Corey Ivy to drop him for a loss of 9.
The reverse was on. Unfortunately, I don't think the wide receiver, who was supposed to be the reverse man, heard the call.
I know.
Broken play.
Posse.
Oh, Jamie. Yeah, baby. Yeah, what's up now?
Yeah, and Aaron Humphrey says, welcome to the XFL, my brother.
Mike, what's it like when you're a wide receiver and you got to take on one of those linebackers coming through like that?
Jesse, you pray. You pray.
Slide 20. Hut.
Already in a second and long are the home Hitmen. Look out. Here come them linebackers again. McGuffey gets it away, and they've got a completion near the original line of scrimmage. Kirby Dardar on the receiving end.
Wally Richardson out tonight. He strained the posterior cruciate ligament in his knee, but they expect him possibly to be back next week, and let's hope that if you're a New York Hitman fan that there'll be a reason to play next week. Should there be a playoff spot, he will be in the game, no question about it.
Scat left.
Well, it was Richardson who really led the turnaround, but at this point, the Hitmen hopes rest with young Court McGuffey. He's got Joe Aska out of the backfield, but he finds Dino Filiaw. 3 straight passing plays out of the gate for McGuffey. Rusty Tillman showing a lot of confidence in his young passer.
Well, you're going to have to pass that second and third play when you get sacked on the first play. You can't run the ball then.
3 passing plays, but it's a 3 and out as Leo Araguz is on to punt for the Hitmen.
So the Chicago defense does their job. They're getting the ball back. Now we'll see the status of Avery.
It's a live ball at the 30-yard line. Araguz has the 3rd best per punt average in the XFL this season. Gets away, a big one. Corey Ivy back to the goal line. Trying to get out of danger, and he's dropped at the 6. Israel Rabun, one of the big defensive linemen that lead the Hitmen charge. How do they prepare?
Our game plan is the same as every team game plan that plays against Chicago. Stop Avery.
We've been pressing all week against the end of the game. What?
I like to hit him. I like for him to try to run over me. I don't like the guy.
Put Avery in the game.
This guy's talking and calling my name. I've lined up against Bruce Smith. I've blocked LeVon Kirkland. They mean to tell me this guy think I'm going to have nightmares because he's calling my name? Please.
Well, here we go, baby.
Kevin McDougal trying to get rid of it in his own end zone, and a safety in their first play from scrimmage, and guess who? Bernard Russ and the man you just heard from, Israel Rabun.
Well, the last time these two teams met, New York sacked the Chicago quarterback 9 times, and they're doing it again tonight on the first play.
Offense, number 14, resulting in safety.
One of the things the New York-New Jersey Hitmen do so well, stunts up front. Watch number 55, Bernard Russ, number 95, Dwayne Saab. Just like that. McDougal on his back.
Well, running the option in Notre Dame only gives you so many looks at big defenders like that. And
times have changed. The enforcers, once down and out, now unstoppable. John Avery fuels Chicago's attack, leading by example, streaking toward the rushing title, and possibly the MVP. After a horrific start, Tillman and company found the winning formula, riding a wave of emotion, challenging anyone who gets in their way. 2 teams with postseason dreams. 2 teams that control their own destiny. 2 teams ready to leave it all on the field.
Week 9 of the XFL, we're in a New York state of mind. The Chicago Enforcers and the New York Hitmen. In the XFL's Eastern Division, Orlando has clinched a playoff spot. Chicago and New York in action tonight, fight for the remaining berth in the East. for the Chicago Enforcers. Not just a lot on the line, but everything on the line tonight. A loss and the Enforcers are done this season, out of the playoff picture. They need a win to stay alive.
Remember, guys, it is a marathon. It is not a sprint. 60 minutes of football all the way. 2 halves. You take it one play at a time. That's how you handle it.
The New York Hitmen also 3-5, but winners versus Chicago earlier this season. If New York can do it to the Enforcers again tonight, and if heavy favorite Orlando beats Birmingham this evening, the Hitmen go to the playoffs.
We're here for one purpose: win. That's it. Winning.
This is our game. This is our show. This is our... Everybody in this room, that's it.
Matt Vasgersian from the Meadowlands. 2 playoff spots claimed in the XFL as Orlando and LA have clinched 2 playoff spots left, one of them in the East. These 2 teams tonight vying for 1 remaining spot, a chance at the playoffs and a chance at the $1 million game at the end of the season. Let's talk about the New York Hitmen, the home team, and welcome in Jesse Ventura. Jesse, this is a different New York team than the one that began the season.
Absolutely. New York was probably the worst team in the XFL, starting off 0-3, Matt. Now they're probably the most improved team in the XFL, but Coach Rusty Tillman says that doesn't mean anything. If they don't make the playoffs, it is meaningless. Now, what has caused the change? Wally Richardson at quarterback. He's brought passing, versatile running attack, and team leadership, but there's a problem with Wally Richardson tonight.
Wally Richardson with a leg injury. He's not out there tonight. Instead, they send a guy out there who's not made an XFL start, and we welcome in our own Iron Man, Mike Adamle. Mike, Court McGuffey, big game on the line. He's making his first start of the year.
Yeah, virtually no pro experience, just a rookie, Matt. He's only thrown 16 passes this season. Unfortunately, they came 2 months ago in a loss to the Las Vegas Outlaws. His strong suits, smarts, leadership, a decent command of the medium range passing game, but there's a quantum difference between playing in a game where the outcome has already been decided and a game where there's a playoff spot hanging in the balance.
What's going through Court McGuffey's mind? One man knows, our own Fred Rogan. Freddie?
Court, making your first start, a lot has to be running through your mind tonight, but what concerns do you have as you approach this game?
I'm just excited to get out there and play. This is a great atmosphere here, Giant Stadium, and just looking forward to getting out there, playoffs on the line, and just go out there and have fun.
All right, Jesse, that's the thumbnail sketch with New York. What about Chicago? It's a pretty easy mathematical situation. They win tonight, they're still alive. They lose, they're done.
That's right, and you know, Chicago has their destiny, as you said, Matt, in their own hands. And they need to come in here tonight. They need to win, and that centers around running back John Avery. John Avery accounts for almost 50% of the Chicago offense, but there's a problem there, too, with John Avery.
A lot of problems tonight, I'm sensing. And that problem, Mike Adamle, is that John Avery's a little dinged up.
The one thing they can't control, Chicago, is the condition of John Avery's hamstring. Some controversy surrounding the XFL's leading rusher last week in the final seconds of a 13-0 win over Birmingham. Inexplicably, Avery put back in the ball game, and this is what happened. He pulled his hamstring, perhaps jeopardizing his ability to play tonight.
He's going to be all right. He'll be playing. But looking back, hell yes, I wouldn't have had him on the field.
We talked to John Avery last night. His condition was anywhere from 65 to 70%. How is he tonight? Well, right now, he's with Chris Raggy. Chris?
24 hours ago, John, you were 65%. How do you feel right now, and how effective can the XFL's leading rusher be this evening?
I don't know. It just depends, you know. If my hamstring holds up, I'll be like Al Pacino in New York. I kill for fun. Believe that.
Moments ago, the scramble for the ball, the scramble for possession. Tony McCall of Chicago and the home guy, Donnie Caldwell. It's squirted free. It's a sloppy track out there. This field has sustained rain, and Donnie Caldwell not only won the scramble, but tried to advance it into the end zone. Can't do that, Donnie. Ready to kick it off. Then Andy Crosland of the Chicago Enforcers is set to kick. Kirby Dardar and Butler Benote back to receive for the home Hitmen. There is a lot on the line tonight. As we mentioned, something to keep in the back of your minds as well, there is a sloppy track at the Meadowlands. The field took a lot of rain over the past couple of days. The field had not been covered. That may or may not be a factor, and week 9 of the XFL is underway. Kirby Dardar, the Syracuse product, up ahead of the 25, cuts outside and finds some running room. A big return off the opening kickoff as Kirby Dardar returns it 31 yards. Well, here he is, fellas. We're told that rookie quarterback Court McGuffey is from the cerebral school of quarterbacking. Great collegiate credentials, but how's that going to transfer tonight?
Pro. We got shuffle to dice left, 38 toss, D reverse, triple pass, all one-on-one. Ready?
This play has got everything in it. You heard the reverse in there. Perhaps they may do that a lot tonight. A lot of trick plays up Rusty Tillman's sleeve tonight.
Only a 3-man.
Good job.
I use my head, I think, is the biggest thing. I like to read the coverage, I know where my guys are going, you know, look at what the defense is giving me, and just take what's there. You know, don't try to force anything.
That's the game plan. We mentioned there was a controversy during this week leading up to the game, as it wasn't really determined who was going to start, McGuffey or Polari. This is Joe Ascot. First down for the Hitmen, a gain of 18.
Well, one thing about Joe Ascot, he's not going to fake you out. He's going to run you over.
And this is an ominous sign if you're a Chicago Enforcer fan. This guy is 5'11", 247 pounds, and one of the best north-south runners in the league. If you're a defensive back, you just cringe when you see him coming.
Now, Mike, why is it always north-south straight up the field and east-west is across the field?
Just the way football fields are laid out, and I don't know whoever came up with that one.
All right.
Something about the magnetic poles.
Adam Lee's 0 for 1 tonight as time winds down on the play clock. McGuffey going long over the middle, had a receiver, and it's in and out of the hands of Bob Rosensteel.
What's worse, Jesse keeps track.
He was running north-south on that.
Okay.
Brings up a 2nd and 10 now for the Hitmen.
I'm thinking about running a fake here.
The Hitmen emptied out all the trick plays a couple of weeks ago. That's the week they turned it around in the league with an upset win over San Francisco. Dino Filio, the ball carrier, dropped for a loss.
Very nice play by Jason Turek. Yeah. The erstwhile Croatian sensation when he played for the University of Washington and led the Pac-10 in sacks for 2 years running, I believe.
Wide shallow on one-on-one. Ready? Be ready, Bob. Find the hole.
He's going to bring up a 3rd and long now.
Car. 5, set. Blue 20.
Last week in their loss, the Hitmen were 0 for 11 on 3rd and 4th downs. They've converted 1 tonight already. Plenty of time for McGuffey. He dumps it off.
Intercepted.
Thrown, tipped and picked off by Jason Gray. A flag on the play, however.
And this is one of the things that the Chicago Enforcers defense does so well.
Holding New York.
They rank dead last in pass defense, but for some reason, they lead the league in interceptions. That was number 13. This one courtesy of a pick. And perhaps a ball, Jesse, that McGuffey should not have thrown. Definitely a ball he shouldn't have thrown.
Every time you're picked off, Mike, you shouldn't have thrown it.
Everything's open.
Be louder, because I got that much.
Run it. I'm not about to take the field.
It looked like one of those Mark Wilson mid-'80s Raiders passes. Yikes. New York on top early in the first quarter on a safety play against the Chicago offense in their first play from scrimmage, and courtesy of Bud Light. We check in with Orlando and Birmingham. Playoff implications abound in week 9 of the XFL, and as you can tell, they are just underway in that one. Right out of the gate, the Hitmen have a 2-0 lead.
Matt, next to Las Vegas, New York perhaps the best defense in the XFL.
Everyone over the top to the left.
Let's go. Let's go.
Whoa.
Hey. So we're going to go special middle again. Special middle again. Hey, are you in this or not? He can't go. Let's go. Special middle. Move up 20 yards.
Well, the defense featured for New York early tonight, as Mike Adamle just got through telling you, it's the second-ranked defense in the XFL behind Vegas. Tops versus the pass, and it was that pass rush that took care of McDougal in his first play from scrimmage.
And so far, Matt, we got a Derek Jeter home run with a man on. 2-0, New York over Chicago.
That's right, opening day here at the Meadowlands.
Come on, Chris.
Well, they're 3-1 in March, are the Enforcers, after that miserable 0-4 start. And it's worth mentioning again, fellas, that the fourth of the 0-4 came at the expense of these Hitmen.
And let's remember something. Rusty Tillman's been lucky both times. John Avery did not play in Chicago, and he's limited here tonight.
Kirby Dardar picks up after a bounce and returns a couple of yards up ahead to the 39. That's where Court McGuffey and the Hitmen offense will take over for the second time tonight.
Great field position.
There was a quarterback controversy.
Get over the side. Butler, did he make a call here?
Man. We're all covered up.
Yeah. It was just fair. All right, this is our
Stay on our level, so we can pick that up.
Yeah.
Tight end slash tackle Tim Martin getting chewed out a bit on the sidelines. He's got to miss that block.
Blue 24. Oh, shit.
Handoff banging up the middle is Joe Aska. A gain of 5.
Bernard, on the safety, were you running a stunt? Is that how you got in so quickly?
I just trying to find the ball. Trying to find the ball.
You're not going to give it up, are you?
Yeah. I'll find the ball.
Hey, Freddie, this is week 9. These guys aren't going to give it up.
He must work for the CIA in the offseason.
You know, a wink and a soundbite get you a long way in the world, not necessarily in this league. Second and 5 for McGuffey.
Yeah.
Play action, he's got Aska again. Nothing, he gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of 2.
Pro, huddle up.
Slot right, check. Lead or slant. If they're in a stretched out odd, run the slant.
Okay, here we go. Tim slot right, check lead or slant on 101. Ready?
One of those check with me plays. They'll see that the read it to the line of scrimmage, and based on the call that he makes here, they'll run into the lead or slant.
Black 90. Black 90.
On 3rd and 3. He's got a receiver, a completion, and a first down.
Easy up.
Well, McGuffey got the start in a decision over the week between he and Charlie Polari.
Here we go. Good job.